but he still needed to hear what God had to say. That's so much to me. That means that it doesn't matter how many things that I've done or how many things I've accomplished or how many sermons I've prayed. Boy, before I get anywhere, I need to stop and pray. Stop and pray. Pray. We've seen that Jesus tells us it's not always wise to get excited in the crowd. We see that it's wise to just stop and pray. Verse 47 says, and when even was come, the ship was in the midst, and he alone on the land. And when he saw them toiling and rowing, for the fourth watch of the night cometh, then walking upon the sea, and would have passed them by, but when they saw him walking on the sea, they supposed it to be a spirit, and they cried out. Now the disciples had been in ministry and seen amazing things. They had seen Jesus himself feed the 5,000. They'd seen the fish multiply in the baskets. Now that's an amazing sight, to have a basket and it be empty and just be filled. But they seen that. But, in even all of this ministry, they still seen a point to cry out. Fear had come over them and what was going on. But they still were able to cry out. And they cried out for help. I pray that I never get into a point in ministry that I don't see a need to cry out for Jesus. Now, we should never be in a place that, I see some people that are so smart and so educated today that a lot of times I don't even know if they even serve the Lord, but serve ministry. And we never want to be so much in ministry that we don't cry out for Jesus. Just cry out for help. We cry for so many things, but when we get to a place like this is where we're supposed to go to. We're supposed to be pointed always to the Lord. And we should never be in a place that we're not willing to cry out for help. No ministry should ever be moving without Jesus. He goes on in verse 49, or verse 50, it says, for they all saw him and were troubled, and immediately he talked with them, and said unto them, be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. There's no time in our ministry and our discipleship that we shouldn't receive Jesus Christ. There's no time when we say, well, we just don't want to be in it right now. I just don't want to hear from you right now. I just don't want to see what you got next. Jesus is calling upon us at all times and trying to show us opportunities. And sometimes we get so caught up in the world that we don't want to receive that now. Let's put that off to later. Let's do that later. I have enough. I heard a lady today or other day say, you know what, I just don't even have time to fool with that right now. That'll just have to wait. And I thought about, a lot of times our ministry is like that. You done got me doing this now. I can't be turned over and pointed that way. Or you got me working on this person. Don't give me another person until I get this done. But we always should receive Jesus. We should always receive Jesus. What saved them that night was not seeing Jesus, but receiving Jesus. They saw him walking and he would have passed them by, but they cried out. Not only did they cry out, but they received Jesus. Don't cry out unless we're willing to receive him. A lot of times that's just what we want. We want him to come when we cry for him. But when everything's okay, we don't want any part of Jesus. Jesus will set us on the rock, and then he'll come to us for our next ministry, our next mission, our next giving of his will. And we don't want to receive him then. But anytime we're in trouble, when we have fear or concerns, we're willing to see Jesus. A wise point is to always receive Jesus. He goes on in verse 51 and he says, and he went up with them into the ship, and the wind ceased, and they were sore amazed in themselves beyond measure, and wondered. Verse 52 says, for they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. you get into a place and you just seen Jesus feed 5,000 people. And that wasn't the first miracle they seen Jesus do. But then they step in a ship and they get in just a little bit of trouble. The winds were working against them, and they were trying, and and I'm sure the waves were pretty high, and they were trying to go against these waves and the wind, and they were just having trouble. You know what? And then they doubted belonging to Jesus, that Jesus was going to take care of them. They had already forgot what He had already done. That quickly. I know that, you know what? And I look at that and I say, how can them idiots do that? But you know what? I'm the first one that ought to stand up and say, you know what? I've done that too. Jesus has worked out some things in my life where, it's just been unbelievable. And then I turn around and next thing you know, I'm crying out in disbelief. How am I going to get out of this? Jesus Christ saved me from a drug addiction that many said couldn't be beat. Dr. Smith looked at me and told me, he said, I would have rather come back in this hospital room tonight and told you had cancer. But Pastor, you're addicted to cocaine. Now that's a statement that I'll never forget. He said, people survive cancer these days. And I watched the Lord Jesus Christ work out situation after situation until He cleaned me. He cleaned me. And since that day, I have never snorted or shot or even seen cocaine. And then I wonder how I'm going to pay my bills. Lord, you ain't no way you're going to get all this done. I was headed to a devil's hell. Sinner. Disgusting, lost sinner. Actually, one needle, one snort, one pill away from hell. One breath. We never realize how close we are to hell. Come from the Century the other day and I see those teenagers' crosses on the side of the road. And I guarantee you every one of them hadn't even thought of death. Death was for somebody in the 60s, 70s. And they died right there on that road. They never made it off an ounce. They were dead on the scene. 2 of them were dead on the impact. That's how close hell is. That close to hell. And I watched Jesus change me, save me. I preach. I may not be a good preacher, but I preach every Sunday. And I live a life of a pastor. It's not that I don't mess up. Don't matter. It doesn't mean I don't have trouble. Doesn't mean I don't have a lot of growing. But Jesus took a drug-addicted cocaine addict and made him a preacher. And I wonder how He's going to cure the cold. That's why Jesus, when He stepped into the ship, He said, you have little faith. We're talking about 7 hours from the feeding of 5,000. 7 hours they had forgotten who He was and what He could do. Boy, it's wise to cry out for Jesus. It's wise to receive Jesus. Amen. And it's always wise to trust in Jesus. Amen. Every head bowed, every eyes closed. Dear Father,